You know, like any technology that we enjoy in our vehicles today, a lot of it comes through automotive racing, and the Multimaatic DSSV shocks are no different. You know, they were developed through Champ Car, and they've got about 5 or 6 wins already currently. So that's pretty impressive for a new shock manufacturer to come on and dominate so strongly. Now, you know, these shocks are not only used on the Colorado ZR2, but they're used on the Chevy Camaro ZL1. They're also used on an Aston Martin and a Mercedes AMG GT. So those vehicles are quite impressive as far as their technology goes. And once again, they utilize the DSSV shocks as well. So what I want to talk about is, should the DSSV shocks be used in an off-road application? Now, many ZR2 owners have reported that their Multimaatic shocks have started leaking with as low as 15,000 miles, and it seems like the majority of the leaks are happening right around 20 to 30,000 miles. Now, these shocks, according to the manufacturer, should last a lifetime, or the lifetime of the vehicle. However, they're not. It's pure and simple that they're just not. Now, the dealerships have been taking care of the shocks under warranty up to 32,000 miles. If you got extended warranty, then they'll probably still be covered for a little bit longer. But in my instance, I have 27,500 miles. We've already lost 2 of our shocks. So we've lost the passenger front right shock and the rear right shock. Both of the shocks have been leaking. So in regards to that, if these are developed for the off-road industry, and we're already seeing so many leaks that are happening, is the Multimaatic DSSV shock the right choice? So what makes the DSSV shocks work so well? Well, it's the Multimaatic sleeve dampeners, and they're laser etched, and those different orifices can be designed in a computer model to determine how the shock is going to react under certain loads and certain characteristics. So this is what makes the shock so unique, because it doesn't require a lot of on-road testing to make sure that you get the valving right. It's all done in a computer model. So that's great. There are race applications and race shocks that are being sold by Chevy Performance. Now, these shocks come in at an extremely high price, roughly $3,000 for a set of rear shocks. They do add about 10% additional articulation once you pair them up with the Chevy Performance leaf springs. Those are also $3,000. So you're looking at about $6,000 just to upgrade the springs and the shock. To be honest with you, that's just way too much for me. Then, you know, I don't want to spend that kind of money. But I guess the point I'm trying to get at is, if those shocks are better designed for a race application, they should have been installed on the ZR2 to begin with. I mean, that's just my opinion. The shocks that are on there now, I just don't believe that they are up to the task that Chevy actually thought that they were. And that's why so many of them are failing. These shocks do work tremendously well right out of the box. I have to say, when I first bought my truck, of course, those shocks, they were like magic. It was really like floating on air, and the handling characteristics of the truck were simply amazing. Now, should you have DSSV shocks once you lift your vehicle like we did? So we're currently running a body lift. That does not affect the suspension whatsoever, but we did put a leveling kit on the front, and we also went with the diesel trophy truck springs for the front and an add-a-leaf in the back. How does that affect the DSSV shocks and their performance? Well, if we look at all of the statistics, these shocks are designed and valved to function in a spool sensitive, or position sensitive, I should say, position sensitive location. And that location is based on stock ride heights and stock tires. When you lift your vehicle and you're not in stock ride height and running on stock tires, and the unsprung weight of those tires is different, yeah, you're kind of stuck, because you can't tune these like you could a Fox shock or the numerous other brands that are out there. The other issue that we have now is that no one is making replacement shocks for the Colorado ZR2. I think Fox Shocks makes one. If you guys know of more, please put them in the comments. But yes, the standard Colorado shocks do not fit the ZR2. Now, you could change out your upper and lower control arms and A-arms and then go with a different aftermarket, of course. But then I think you're still looking at about $3,000 to do all that. Might as well just stay with the stock ZR2 Multimaatic, or go to the Performance Multimaatic DSSVs that's available through Chevrolet Performance. In retrospect, how do the shocks perform once my vehicle is lifted? Well, yeah, they're still working. There's still some dampening there, but it is definitely not as good as it was when we first bought the vehicle. And I kind of feel like now I'm kind of pigeonholed into having to pay the higher price for the DSSV shocks just because there's not a lot of aftermarket product support for these vehicles. Speaking of the OEM DSSV shocks, if you want to get a set for the front, you're looking at about anywhere from $470 to about $550 each, still about $1,100. Same for the rear, if you're just going to go with the stock OEM. Obviously there are some people that have some great pricing, you know, connections out there. They can certainly get them cheaper. These are what the average guy can go and get those shocks for right now. And like I said, I don't believe that $1,000 for 2 shocks is terrible money for how well they do work. But like I said, if your truck is already lifted with tires, those shocks, they're not as magical as they used to be. Once again, that position sensitive spool valve dampening, it is designed to work in a way or in a manner that knows where that piston is in alignment to the current position of the vehicle. And once you change that ride height, that position is changed, therefore it changes the characteristics of the shock itself. Something for you guys to keep in mind if you decide to lift your vehicle. Now I will say this, that you know, we've been off-road a number of times in this truck with the DSSV shocks, and they've worked, you know, very well. Aside from the 2 failed shocks that we have, you know, they've been relatively good shocks. And I would have to say that out of the 27,000 miles on my vehicle, about 8,000 of that is off-road miles. We do off-road activities almost once or twice a week. So if you guys are, you know, friends of the channel or subscribers, you guys, you know, definitely know that we try to post every week at least one video in an off-road environment. Do I think the technology is awesome? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome technology. Will we see any of the racers at King of the Hammers using any type of Multimatic or spool valve dampening systems on their rigs? Probably not, but we're going to look around. So make sure that you continue to follow along. We will be at King of the Hammers on the 5th, 6th, and 7th. We'll be at the Icon Off-Road and Overland Experience, and we're just really grateful we got an opportunity to go there, and we will be sharing some of that footage with you guys. But I mean, if the off-road racers really aren't using it, should it be used on an off-road truck that was kind of designed and built as a off-road weapon? That's what I'm beginning to ask myself. For however expensive they are, they certainly didn't last a lifetime like the manufacturers thought they would. From everything I'm hearing from the rest of you guys out there and in the forums, you guys are pretty upset with the short life expectancy of these shocks. So if you're having problems, just remember, if you're under your warranty, certainly go and get a new shock from your dealer. And if you're not, let me know what shocks you decide to use in the comments. Are you going to go with the King shocks? You're going to try to go with Icon? I wished Icon really made a shock for the ZR2 variant, but from everything I've been able to find out, they currently do not have anything. So let me know in the comments what you guys plan on using. This is David from Trail Adventures USA, and we'll see you on the next episode.